If you have said to yourself, I should write that, or if someone has said to you, you should write that, then I'm talking to you because you need to write. And that's why you're tuned in to yWrite. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of yWrite, where I get to invite different people into the studio to find out why they're writing, what they're writing, and how they're writing in order to help you start writing your story. You know, there's a lot of different ways to tell a story, and a lot of people do it on a page, but there's a way to do it on a stage and on a screen. And today we're going to talk about, a lot of those things, especially doing it on a stage. I have a extremely talented performer and entertainer in the studio. His name is Maverick Prasad. Maverick owns Prasad Entertainment, and he is a talented comedian and actor. He's a performer, a coach. He's been studied psychology at Barry University in Miami, Florida. We're going to have a great conversation with him to find out everything that he's doing, because one of the main things he does is he coaches comedians and oral storytellers to present their material for practice and to perfect it for performances. He's the producer of comedy shows and open mics all over Western New England, and I'm very excited to have him in the studio today. So I would like to welcome Maverick Prasad.
Angela, thank you so much for having me.
You're very welcome. I'm so glad that we were able to finally coordinate this. We've been talking about having you come in for a couple months now, at least.
Yeah. It's just Wednesdays are busy days.
Wednesdays is a very busy day, and we're going to talk about why it's busy, especially for you. As an entertainer, you put together all these different entertainment things all over Western New England, and one of them is on Wednesdays. You have something called Workout Wednesdays at the Ale House.
Correct.
In Springfield, and that's kind of how we had met. I mean, we actually met at a movie premiere.
Yep, Mind Made for Murder.
Mind Made for Murder, which was written by Ken Harris. You were an actor in the movie.
I was, yeah.
And Ken Harris I actually produce his show now, Foes of a Minimum Wage Guard.
Shout out to Ken, I love that guy.
Yeah, oh, he is amazing. And I met him that night at the movie premiere also. Yeah. Well, a little bit earlier. We met. And then, I found out more about what you're doing as a comedian and as what you do for other people. And you have this magnetic personality that just kind of draws people to you.
Thank you.
And you are such, I'm going to say, just so passionate about giving space to people. Giving space to people to explore their talent, and I'm talking about in the comedy circuit. It's a circus.
No, it's a circus. You didn't. Maybe a Freudian slip, but it's true.
Yeah, totally. And at the Ale House in Springfield, you do this thing called Workout Wednesdays, and today's Wednesday, and so I'll hopefully see you tonight because I'm hoping to go down there. But can you tell us a little bit about Workout Wednesdays, why you started it, and what got you interested in?
So Workout Wednesday is pretty much the final thing. We got to go back probably 7 years ago when I first started comedy. I had a car incident, so I couldn't go to Northampton and hit up Bishop's, which had their last thing. Shout out to Bishop's.
Yes, Bishop's Lounge.
Yep. And then my man, my friend, who really another mentor, Terrence, he had a mic, but his bar closed down, so I didn't have anything. So I got up with my friend, shout out to Pop Sterian. He's a really good guy. You guys should check him out. He has a show on Wednesday too, which is another reason. Because every time you booked me, I would be on his morning show.
He does, and actually, Ken Harris, I think, might be on
his
show
today.
Morning.
Yes, that's right. Ken's on that show today.
Yes. And Pops, I got him into acting. He did something for me at the Exit 7.
Yes. So he and I, we started a group EMT together with my Evan too. Evan, that's who made this shirt too. It's
nice.
Evan. Yeah, so it was Evan, Mav, and Todd, and we just started doing our own open mics so we got a place to practice. Life happens. People separate, do things. Journeys are different. Some roads you have to split apart and then come back. So fast forward, I was DJing and I was actually DJing and helping run an adult entertainment club, and my cousin became a DJ there. So I've always wanted to DJ at my mics. So when we got the opportunity to go to the Ale House, a buddy of ours, Cook, got us in there, and I wanted to do it right, because my thing is I want people, like, you're in acting, right? So you don't just do things. You actually set up everything. You put the scenes as they are on stage.
You do the whole production.
You do the whole production.
Yeah.
Before you actually do the production.
Yeah.
Because if you're half doing things and everything like that, it is not up to par. When you go on stage, that's how you're going to be. So I wanted everyone to feel like when you come to Workout Wednesday, you're actually going on the stage. You're stepping on. That's a packed room,
Yeah.
You're in California. You're in anywhere, wherever you want, use your beautiful mind and put yourself someplace. But I wanted that experience because I feel when you're comfortable on stage, regardless of what the audience size is, you're going to know how to perform.
Right.
You did it before. It's just like, sports and golf, you don't change your swing up. You just keep it the same.
Right.
Just switch the club head. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Read the audience. Understand that. And so that's what it started. My cousin DJ Nice Jones actually came out with Workout Wednesday because we would always talk about it. We always when we explain to people what an open mic is, some people say it's a show. I'm like, no, it's not a show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even though it is a show.
It is. I mean,
it is a
and
show.
people do come to just
Correct,
watch.
Just watch.
But these are, you have comedians, especially on Wednesdays, it's for comedy.
Yeah.
You do things at other venues that are open mics where people do poetry and read and,
Yeah, Snickers the break. Yep.
Yeah, Snickers, which we were at last night.
Last night, yeah.
So last night we were together and
Yes,
now we're...
Who made breakfast?
I know. I'm sorry. Here's some pancakes. I should have done that. We've been, 24 hours
there
if I go see you tonight too. It's like our own little writing retreat or
there
something.
It is.
But yeah, on the Yale House, because it's for comedians, you have comedians from all over New England.
Yes.
Who show up. It's not like just this local area. I mean, I met Tim Stone. I was say Tim Rock. Tim Stone. He's from New Hampshire. He comes down. You got is it JoJo from Lee? No, Heidi from Lee. Lee, Mass. You have people from
Robert Barnes from Maine.
Yeah, they're traveling to come down for this 7-minute set. I don't know. It depends how many are on the list.
5 minutes 59 seconds, but sometimes you get 6 minutes 59 seconds.
Yeah,
you know
but
what I mean? But
I mean, when I go, what I love is I see these comedians who are working at the craft.
Yeah.
Like, they are, they're getting there early, putting their name on the list, but then they got their notebooks out. They're writing their material. They're rewriting their material. They're going up to the mic, with their notes because, this is a workout. It's not, it has to be, memorized. But like when they're up there, you can tell, they're working on this joke to see if it works. And to see them repeatedly come up every week, sometimes like tweaking a joke, like if it did work, it didn't work.
Yeah.
And what you do, especially not just at the beginning of the show or the beginning of the, the open mic, is in between, is you show people what to do. Do you know what I mean? Like you're getting up there, you're being the comedian, you're sharing the jokes, you're working the room. And, from my point of view, just watching you going, you're reading the room. I know you're, what jokes are appropriate in that setting and things like that. How do you feel the comedians who show up what's their feedback on it to you?
Well, I'm not looking really like, I would love to be a great headliner, but I like hosting. I do. And I know that's, because the thing is, I feel as a host, your job is to prepare the crowd for what's coming up. You're like you're the chef is cooking, but you're the waiter who's gonna bring it up to people and explain it. This is what it. So you go out there, you do your jokes, you work the room, you kind of throw little jabs here and there to see how it works, and then you go back, and if the comedians are watching, they're like, okay, I see what you did.
Yeah.
So now I know what my jokes to work around, because everyone goes in expecting a game plan, but it's not gonna work. You know, it's comedy's no different than a sport. You're gonna have guys who want to go up there and they're hitting jokes left and right and they're just laughs.
Yeah.
And you have some guys up there that just the room just you're kidnapping the room. Let the people go. Set them free, please, Pharaoh. But the thing about it is, if you're paying attention to the host and you're paying attention to what they're doing, you're able to kind of figure out. Some people, they'll do crowd work, but you just saw the host do it and they didn't want to try. But then it becomes a challenge now, because now every comedian wants to be the one to be like, I was the one that broke them. You know what I mean? And then it's just like, but why I kind of work on things like that, because people get used to stuff like that. So now when it comes to a show, a paid show, I'm paying. People don't. I think sometimes too, as entertainers, when someone's paying you and you're not big and known yet, they're paying you because they're trusting that your work is better than them going out to the movies and paying these stars. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's better than them going out to these bigger venues and seeing these name people who are touring, you know? So your job is to give your best performance. I think we got caught up so much in the know your worth that we forgot about quality.
Yeah, no, I totally see that. And this is a good time to talk about, like, so, you know, you're doing the workout Wednesdays, and then on Tuesdays you're hosting these open mics, which is for everybody to get comfortable on the stage, to learn the material, but you actually produce shows where you're paying the comedians. And
I'm trying to pay. We're gonna use pay scarily. I do have a black book of some people I know.
You know, I usually pay people with $100,000. Have I told you this? I give them a
candy bar?
$100,000. Yeah. Thanks for coming on the show. Here's $100,000. But you know, my hope is I'm going to manifest that into.
I hear you. That's
you just got to start.
You have to start, and it's a funny thing because I've worked with a lot of people and done a lot of stuff, and you get burnt. You know what I mean? Because I'm not gonna lie, I'm a good-hearted guy. I'm not gonna sit here and not be like, it's not prideful. It's just I know. My life mission on this world is any man that comes before me is to give the greatest version of me to them that may plant a seed for them to be the greatest version of themselves.
Do you see what this is?
You know, this is it's just but that's the thing. Like if you think that way, you don't need religion. You don't need because the thing is you work out of love, and I think that's what we forget. And as an artist, I've always loved literature. I've always loved plays and acting and stuff like that. And you would sit there and you're reading work, and a lot of these works are based off emotions of these artists, of these authors, really, of writers, really.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because if you look at every movie, it's pretty much based off of a novel.
Yeah. Well, I always say, like,
You know?
I just want to be the writer. I don't really want to be the performer.
Yeah.
However, I mean, like, I'm going to your open mics and I'm performing because I also feel like, as a writer, if I want someone to perform my work, I kind of have to show them what I'm looking for.
Yeah, exactly. And also, too, you wrote that character. How good does it feel that now you get to be that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's so much love and gratitude in that. And, you know, when you're looking at people who write and stuff like that, they're putting their emotions out into it, and other people are getting it, reading it, and they're taking it in, and now that's becoming part of their persona.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, when us as writers, we're not just putting art out there, we're actually changing some people's souls. There's so many times, like, you look at things, and there's parts of literature that, you know, I remember the Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew, Boxcar Children, you know what I mean? And this adventurous mindset that became part of my persona as a child. You know, you look at the world differently. Like, what would they do in this situation? Everything's an adventure. That's because someone put that seed inside of me, you know what I mean? Of that of those possibilities.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I feel like I was the last of that generation to have that, because now social media, what we're doing with like, you know, TikTok and everything, it's great. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, no.
You know, but it's also a double-edged sword. You know what I mean? Now we're losing people's attention span. You know, kids
It's a
don't
shorter
have that.
attention span.
Yeah, and they don't have that quick, you know, true imagination. You know, that's why if you look at now, like, a lot of these movies are about a lot of these younger people now coming up producing these movies that are being hits, because it has to like the mindset pretty much is changing, you know, and everything's sort of like, you know.
Well, I mean, and like I said, you have this magnetic personality that, you know, exudes love and caring and kindness, which I think draws all these creative people to you. I mean, you know, look, you got your friend who's doing the artwork on this shirt. I mean, you've had...
Yeah, you can see him every Wednesday. He's actually, every Wednesday he goes and he draws each...
I can't remember his name right now.
Evan. Yeah.
Unbelievable. He is like a fast sketch artist, number one.
Yeah, he does them really fast.
I mean,
in
pencil
6 minutes,
to
he's
the
gonna
page.
do a face
You're up there, and he's sketching every single comic that goes up. And I love peeking over his shoulder and looking at something, because I you know, just to see what he's doing. And I'm like, he's just amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, he's so talented. And I'm like, do you work for the courts? I asked him, I go, you know, like in the old days, we had the sketch artist and you couldn't have photography in the courts. I see him doing that. And so that's the thing, is like, you know, you have the comedians who are performing or practicing, you know, perfecting their performance with their material, but then you have these other creatives that are in the crowd. You know, that are still working on their crafts in different ways. So, what got you involved in? When did you find out you were funny?
Well, I always knew I was funny. I always knew I had this, like, I had a stage presence. But I started a podcast, actually. We had a great podcast going for a very long time. Let's Talk. But nobody knew who I was. So they loved everything I brought to the table. You know, with my journalism background and everything. Because, yes, I know we talked before. I started, you know, I never finished Barry. I want to say that because I don't want them getting all the money without, you know, I'm not an alumni and they keep on sending letters. Like, I didn't finish yet. But no, I got my my associates from Stick. And
in journalism.
Nope, just liberal arts transfer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because I was between going through psychology and med school because my dream of being a writer was shut down because someone told me you're not going to make enough money to have a family, and I was like, ugh, that's horrible. But I was at a different mindset. You know what I mean? It's growth.
Well, you know, I wanted to be a rockette, and I wanted to own a dance studio.
There you go.
And I was a dancer for 30 years and taught dance.
That's right. I
for
remember you
15.
told me that.
And, you know, they had, you know, when I applied to go to colleges, you know, my instructor was like, don't study dance. There's no money in dance. And I was like, I was kind of a little crushed. I was like, well, I thought you're supposed to study what you love.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, I thought that's the purpose of living, is doing what you love and what you're passionate about. So, I mean, I went to college and got a degree in accounting, you know, which I like, you know, numbers and things like that. And I was always good at it. And, you know, but then it's like I became a florist. You know? I'm thinking, not a lot of money in floristry either, but I loved it. And for me, I need to do what I love. I mean, because, you know, why get up I don't know. I don't think I could just get up every day and go to a job just for the money of it.
No. Right? I couldn't do that.
I couldn't do that.
No. It's not, and the thing is, I think if you're like me, you see your parents do that, like work those, you know, my pops works 2 full-time jobs when I was growing up. You know, my mom worked a full-time job. So seeing them do that and then still just not being able to be happy with, you know what I mean? Like, you built something great. Really, yeah. I was like, I'm not, because I've done that when I was in school and working and stuff like that and working in these for-profit corporations. You go there and you're helping make somebody's pocket more, which by all means that is some people's job, and I'm not knocking it. But as for me, I don't mind doing it. It was when the belittling came because people feel threatened, because when you have a certain type of light to you, regardless of any job I'm at, I was always like this. You know what I mean? I always wanted whoever's around me to be uplifted. Well, that draws positive attention. Now, if you're someone who owns the stuff and someone lower than you is getting more positive attention than you, you get a little sour about it.
Yeah, they can get a little jealous.
Yeah. Which is basic human nature. It's sad, though, because I would think that you, being someone above, owning something, you would have the open mind and maturity, you know, to be walking the same divine light as I walk. But some people, they're not.
Yeah. Well, people there's that jealousy, you know, like, you know, as a performer, you know, when you see that other actor get the better role and make them, and you're like, wait, I could have done that, or, you know, another author doing better with their book. I mean, there's always a little bit of that jealousy factor, but I mean, I don't know. I think a little more like you. Like, I'm happy for them, you know, because like I know how hard it is to do that. So kudos.
And like everyone always says, life is a race, but people don't understand, like, yeah, you didn't finish first, but you still want to finish the race. You know, some people are going to pass you.
Yeah.
But they might get tired later on, and you might pass them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It doesn't mean anything. I think we're just so used to judging, like, you know, we're seeing other people and like, well, that's supposed to be my path. And if I'm not where this level, I'm failing.
I don't even know what my path is.
You know? I think it takes a while. I think it really starts off with people having known themselves. You know what I mean? The most happiest people and the successful people. Now, I've seen a lot of people who are rich and have money, but they're not happy. I've seen a lot of people with nothing and very happy. And then I've seen people who have like the comfortability of financial stability, you know, spiritual, mental, everything. And most of them just are comfortable with who they are. They don't care what John, Joe, Jane, and everybody else has to say about them. They just live their truth, you know? And I think that's my slogan I've always have. Is like, you know, if you ever, you know, go to my shows, I always talk about live your truth. Because if you're not living your truth.
Being authentic.
Authentic, yeah. But even I think authentic is such a hard word, because now you're like, what's authentic?
Yeah.
But when you say truth.
Yeah, live your truth.
That's just that's
and
your heart.
A lot of, and I will say that comedians, I love the movie The Marvelous Miss Maisel. Like,
I did not watch that, but I do know of it.
Sorry, I mean, I watched it after I was recovering on the couch from knee replacement surgery, and I'm watching it going, oh my God, that woman's having a breakdown on stage and it's hilarious, and I'm like, I think I need to do that, like the breakdown part,
yeah.
And the people who get up to the mic, especially for comedy, like, they are just raw. They share details that sometimes you're like, oh, I don't know if I would want to share that part of my life. but it resonates with so many people. Whether you're giving empathy to them or you just go, I know that.
And I see. So this is the thing of comedy. I need people to understand too. Is like just because somebody's saying it doesn't mean it's 100% their life.
Yes.
And I think we get a shock value because we're just like, oh my gosh. I think that's another thing. Is like, why would they say that?
Yeah.
And that's as it was like, well, yeah. Why would I say that? Because it triggers something in all of us. Every time you're found with a problem with somebody else, it's normally what they call someone put a mirror up to you. Now you get to see yourself.
Yeah.
Those are deep things that you know. That's why sometimes with you, it gets annoying when you get there. I will say this because you talk through everyone's set. You'll have a conversation like, lady, I'm just trying to do my set right now. It's not a Q&A. We're not on your show. Can I finish my joke?
I agree with you.
Or you'll be like, you don't really do that. You don't really. It's like, Angela.
Well, first of all, so there's a woman, Ophelia Summers. Shout out to Ophelia. She, first of all, should be a motivational speaker when she gets up to the mic. But she's so funny. Some of the things she says, I can't help to be like, oh my God, you said that. like, I just literally, I just blurted out loud because I'm like, oh my God, what did you just say?
The blurting out loud isn't fun. It's when you continue asking questions. See, don't let her make it seem like she just blurted. No, she starts talking.
Hey, Patrick, one of the comedians, Patrick, appreciated it one night because he still had 2 minutes left and he was like, come on, someone give me something. And I started feeding him a few questions.
Yeah,
so he was like, okay, great.
And that's why you got to keep on working because you shouldn't. You should. No, you don't. You don't need it. But that happens in shows. You know what I mean? I think a lot of I think what I love about it is a workout Wednesday too. It's true. You never know what type of day that room is gonna be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's tough because a lot of people are comedians, and you're trying to get you're trying to get other people who wanna look good to laugh. So everyone now is thinking like they're in their own creative spot. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. How I would have said that joke or how I would have worked with that person right there. You know, and I think it's great, but.
No, it is great. I had done a story because I sometimes have done more like storytelling at the open mics, which
is yes.
Try to make them funny, you know. I mean, for me, I deal with some trauma in my life with humor. Like I have to do that.
That's most comedians. I think everyone that's doing.
I was my mother recently had a car accident and she was a little confused when she woke up and the doctor turned to me and she goes, Did her husband just die? And I said, no. And she goes, did her father just die? I go, no, that was, years ago. And he goes, so her husband's alive? And I go, yeah, my father is alive. I said, but, he's really miserable, so I keep throwing magnets at his pacemaker, try to put him out of his misery. And the doctors look at me. I go, I'm just joking right now. I go, I'm just in this trauma situation. My mother's in the hospital. And, I'm trying to use a little bit of humor, but... sometimes it's not always appropriate, but the doctor got it. And he goes, well, one magnet's not going to take him out. I go, well, I'm throwing the whole alphabet, A, B, C, D. I got to R. And he goes, no. I go, do I throw the whole alphabet at once? He's like, no, you need a really big magnet. And I go, oh, okay. So he got my humor with it and kind of played along with me. But it's you're right. I mean, comedians will go up to the stage using their trauma and making it funny. So when I went up, I was telling a story about being a chimera. Mm-hmm. Which the two DNAs and things like that, and getting up there and sharing that story and talking about a surgery I had. Afterwards, I had in my story I talk about how I can never be a stripper because I have this terrible scar on my stomach and I felt like it scarred me for life and closed that door on me. And I had one of the other comedians came up and handed me a little piece of paper and he goes, I think you could do more with that bit. You could call yourself the stripper with the zipper. And then he had a couple little ideas on a piece of paper and I was like, that was really nice that someone, just hand you a little note, a little note about your joke, and, take it or leave it, but it was nice to see, how everybody helps each other out.
Yes. And that's the environment I want. Because I went to so many other mics before, and you don't see that. You don't see somebody, unless you're part of a clique group and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I just like it being I started it thinking of it like the Gold's Gym. Of comedy, you know what I mean? You have other gyms, Planet Fitness, but when you go to Gold's Gym, you want to be a trainer. You want to be go to pageants. When you come to Workout Wednesday, and you really work on your comedy there, I want you to be like, yo, I want to get a good 5-minute set out of this that I can send to festivals that'll book me. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I give longer time, but the thing about it is people don't understand 5 minutes is the industry standard.
Yeah.
people aren't looking past your thing. I have people get upset because, I have a clock and everything. They're like, I can't finish my jokes. Like, no, you had 6 minutes, bro.
Yeah, no, you're great. You have the clock.
Because you send that in, if you're going
cousin
past,
Jones, I mean, he's great. He's, having the DJ there is so cool because he's got the little, noise makers in there, gets the crowd
all the
going.
sound effects,
I mean, it's great. And, even with that, it just gives the warning to the whoever's at the mic, okay, your time's almost up, whether you're flashing your light or they're watching, the timer.
Yeah.
And you're right. I mean, 5 minutes is an industry standard for stuff like that. The comedians that come in are the ones that you use on a lot of your show, like when you're doing professional shows getting paid.
Yeah, I try to, because the thing is, like, I know a lot of these guys drive far and everything, and I watch everybody's joke, and from the first time I see him to later, seeing how it changes, watches how it is. I'm not saying I'm the greatest, don't get me wrong. Like, some people are like, well, you've only been doing it for like 7 years. The 18th of August will be 7 years.
Oh, happy anniversary.
Thank you. And so I when I see people growing, I want to give them that opportunity to know, like, hey, your efforts aren't just, because they're coming up there every Wednesday. They're spending money at the bar. You're investing into something I'm building, a community I want. How is it not right for me to not invest back into you?
Yeah.
You're sowing your seeds. You're planting. You want to grow. You're working on your writing every day. You know what I mean? So, like you said, I love people who are great. Ed Waugh's really good at that. He's another comedian. He'll come up and give you, like, hey, I think this, and this. And I'll sit there and be like, all right, that's cool. Thanks, And other people sit there and talk. Because that's what you want.
Yeah.
You want that camaraderie, because you never know who's going to be the next David Chappelle, who's going to be up there, or, even in movies and stuff like that. You don't know.
Yeah.
So why not push everybody? Because at the end of the day, it's still good to be like, yo, I trained with that person. It's cool. It's like, how many of us are happy when we know somebody in our high school?
You're building history with them.
Exactly,
you're building relationships with them. And like you said, if they're doing a 5-minute set, and even when you're doing a show, if they're getting 7 or 8 minutes on there, there's, the show's not 8 minutes. You're going to have 2 or 3 other comedians. So if they can all be, friends and, alumni together out of the Prasad Entertainment creativity world, that's awesome. Where can you let's tell the audience where they can see some of your actual shows where you're bringing in, these comedians who are doing the performances that they've practiced.
Yes, so we will be having, shout out to the Iron Fox. I want to appreciate Tom. We're going to be doing a show there, let's see, I guess in September, I believe. So look out for that. Make sure you follow them on Facebook, because they're going to have all that and everything.
Iron Fox is in Somers,
Connecticut. Yep. And then also in September 20th, I believe is the last weekend of summer, we're going to have a show at Chicago's in Springfield. Yeah, and if you guys ever want to, if you ever wanted to come on stage and try something out, the best stage I can tell you is Tuesdays at the Break. It's a beautiful stage. It's built there. It's in the Billiards Place, Snookers. You go in there. It's a great. I'll be honest. It is upstairs, so I do like telling people it is not handicap accessible. And I do feel bad. There is a ramp, but the ramp is broken. I don't know.
But that's not great venue.
It's a great venue. Yes,
great stage, great room.
Because I have always wanted, one thing real quick I want to say is, like, any type of performer to perform, because I have a buddy who's in a wheelchair, and we were doing a show at a big stage down in Connecticut, and they didn't have a way for him to get up there, so he had to, like, move it. He did a little thing where he does with his chair, but at the same time, it's like, when you're a big venue, come on now, but they got that fixed up and everything now, but
yeah. All right, and then Tuesdays for the open mic if someone wants to practice. Yep. Wednesday for open mic, and then
Wednesday for open mic, and then just you could follow me on Facebook, Maverick Prasad, Prasad.entertainment on Instagram, and you'll see flyers. If you follow the pages, you'll see flyers. And anytime you see the little Prasad Entertainment logo, where is it? This little guy right here?
Yeah, little gesture.
Mad Chatter. The Mad Chatter.
I like that, the Mad Chatter.
Yep, that's the Mad
gesture
Chatter.
with the little wind-up teeth.
Yep, the Mad Chatter. You see that? You just understand you're going to have a great time. I don't want you to just leave. I want my play. Like, people, after COVID, we realize one thing when people go out. They want to experience. Mm-hmm. And I don't want you in a community. Yeah, so I want you to, when you leave any of my events or anything, to feel like you belong to something, to feel really great. Leave you with that empowerment to take on your week. Yeah. Because you came out to kind of escape the week. Yeah. And I want you to get that energy, feel good, be able to sit your day having a bad day, think of a comedian's joke and be like, that was hilarious, and be able to push through. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, some people go to church, to get that. I feel sometimes you could just go out to a bar and get the same thing through good, positive energy.
100%. 100%. Well, I'm really excited to go see you at the Iron Fox and
I am excited about that. That's a beautiful
That's
venue.
going to be great.
Yes.
I will definitely put the links in so people can click on it, find out more information. I'll put the link to your Facebook page because you do post a lot there on where you're going to be, where you're welcoming people. And I mean, he really is such a welcoming guy. And I'm really glad that I was able to meet you at that movie and, and to see what you're doing and be part of it, because it does feel like a really good community.
Yes.
I'm glad that I was welcomed.
Well, I appreciate it.
Annoying sometimes.
She has sometimes entitlement, but that's what happens when you're a hardworking woman that pushes her way through things.
He's like, here comes Angela, she's going to promote like 7 things right now. Like, by the way, I have this show and this show. Hey, the open mic, this is what it's about.
Yeah, anybody uses anybody's platforms.
Well, thank you so much for coming in, Maverick. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate
Shay,
you.
You are awesome, awesome. And I want to thank you, the studio audience, for tuning in every week to, watch the show, because as you see, I love what I'm doing and I love meeting people and finding out what they're doing and how they're helping the community. So, thanks again for subscribing to yWrite on YouTube. And this is the time of the show where I usually give you a prompt. And I'm just going to give you a really quick prompt right now. And that's to look at your calendar to say, hey, when might I want to try one of these open mics? And, go over to Facebook, check out Maverick's page, check out my page, and, follow, like, subscribe to the channels that the people that you want to encourage. And then to encourage yourself, start showing up and practice what you want to be doing, because if somebody wants to hear that story, and maybe it's going to be really funny, and when you get to the mic, you're going to feel comfortable. So thanks so much for tuning in to yWrite. Have a great day, and I will see you on the next episode.